Hello everyone, this is Brandon Bougen, your Logan County Extension Ag Educator, coming to you with some more timely topics. Today I'm going to cover a little bit about turf fertilization. We do quite a bit of soil samples here at the office that we send to the lab and have analyzed for you, and then in return send that to you. And there's always some follow-up questions that come after we send those out to you, and a lot of it is what do these numbers mean? Why is this what I need to know? So I hope that with this short video today I can help answer that question for you, as I'm kind of limited on the amount of site visits that I can make, and the amount of time that I have in the office here to return phone calls and things like that. So as always, you can leave a message for me at the office at 405-282-3331, or send me an email at brandon.bougen@okstate.edu. Both of those contact information will be at the end of the presentation. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. And so the first step in taking getting information for your fertilization needs, for your nutrient deficiencies, is by taking a soil sample. We have soil probes here in the office that would normally be available to you to borrow and take those soil samples with. In lieu of that, a spade or a sharpshooter, it does very well, and it's easy to get samples with that. Basically, you're taking several subsamples, or you can see here in the photo, samples from a depth of 3 to 6 inches, and these are core samples that you're seeing in the photo. If you take if you get a shovel, take kind of a slice of the soil, and then take the top off where the canopy is, remove the grass, and then remove each side, and then kind of take a piece out of the middle. And then you're going to take that and put it in a clean bucket. And you should take 10 to 20 to maybe up to 40 subsamples, depending on how big your area is. And you're going to put all those subsamples in the bucket. You're going to mix that soil up, and then you're going to take a small portion of that soil and put it into our soil bag, which we're going to send to the laboratory. So it's important that you take a lot of subsamples, because you really need a kind of like a composition sample of your entire area if it's being managed the same way. Rather than taking one sample, all you really have is the information for that one specific area. So again, we want to take a lot of subsamples, have a composition sample that we send to the lab and get analyzed. Every fertilizer bag on it is required to have at least a declaration of composition, and that's typically NP and K. It may not say NP and K on the front of the bag, but it will have 3 numbers, at least 3 numbers. And the first number is always N or nitrogen, the second number is always P or phosphorus, and the third number is always K or potassium. It may be 0, but it still has to be on there. So you may purchase a 10-10-10, or you may purchase a a 4600 or something like that, or a 2300, or a 1600, or a 15510. The N, the P, and the K never switch spots. They're always NPK in that order. So why do we fertilize? We fertilize because it promotes dense turf, reduces weed invasion, improves tolerance to heat, cold, drought, and wear. Here in Guthrie and Logan County, we predominantly have warm season turf grass. And in some of the more shaded areas in our yards, we're going to have a cool season turf grass. Those need to be managed differently. And we're going to talk about two of those management options. So the reason we're taking a soil sample is because we need to figure out what the soil is lacking nutrition-wise that your plant is going to need, and the plant is specifically turf. We need this. We need good nutrition in establishment. We need good nutrition at the beginning of each growing season, and then throughout the growing season, and then again at the end of the growing season to kind of putting your warm season turf to bed or into dormancy. So a fertilization program is based on N or nitrogen needs. Typically, nitrogen is going to be your limiting factor. I have a lot of questions that chemical fertilizer versus organic fertilizers. Slow release organic fertilizers are good, again, because they're released slowly over the summertime. There's not a large kind of spike in nutrition, and then it goes away very quickly. However, you're not really the reason that it is slow release is because it has to be converted from an organic component to an inorganic component for the plant to use it. So the reason it's slow release is because it just takes longer to convert, not that it's better in any one way or the other. So you're going to fertilize, and then you're going to hope for a rain event or schedule it right before a moisture event, or water it in. And then you really don't want to fertilize right before a heavy rain event. It doesn't matter if it's a chemical fertilizer or organic fertilizer. It is still going to run off and go away. So it runs off your turf and down the ditch, and then it either winds up in a municipal water supply or in a creek or a pond somewhere, and that's just not cost effective. So take that into consideration when you're fertilizing. So if you get a fertilizer analysis, soil analysis done here for fertilization, this is what it will look like whenever it comes back from our lab. This is a standard fertilizer. We have parts here, our routine test up here. We have our pH, which in this case is 6.4, which is pretty darn good. We've got our NO3 pounds per acre, subsurface 8, so just a little shy. Soil test P index 127, soil test K index 346. We're not going to go into these right now. All you need to know is that they use this number to calculate what you're going to need based on what you tell them you're growing. So in this case right here, it's lawn. No secondary nutrients were requested, no additional tests were requested, and the micronutrients were not requested. You can request these if you have a special circumstance. It just costs extra. Right now, the routine test runs $10 to $15 per sample. So you're going to get the interpretation, and down here, the pH is adequate. We do not need to apply any lime or sulfur to increase or lower the pH. Nitrogen is the only deficiency that we have here, and they're recommending 1 pound per 1,000 square feet. So a question I get is, how do I know how many 1,000 square feet my yard is? Well, you can go to the county assessor's office and look on land records and find out how many, what fraction of an acre your lot is if you live in town, or how many acres. If you're somewhat technologically savvy, you can use Google Earth or Google Maps and actually measure the area with that. And I may do that as a short tutorial for you in another video. But generally, we say the average city lot, you can use 5,000 square feet as your green space, and that's just a rough number without me not even seeing it. So phosphorus and potassium adequate, so none's required. So what does that mean as far as what kind of fertilizer you buy? You've got N, P, and K. So do I buy a 10-10-10 or 16-16-16, or well, maybe you look for a 10-00 or a 16-00 or a 14-00. They're available, and if all you can find is something like a 10-10-10 or a 16-16-16, is that going to hurt? No, not really. It's not going to hurt anything because 9 times out of 10, your plants are going to go ahead and use that phosphorus and potassium that you're putting out there for them because it's readily available. We just don't want to really overdo it. So how much did we apply? So if we're looking at, in this case, we've got a 16-4-8 NPK fertilizer, 100 pounds of N, or nitrogen, per 1,000 square feet, or excuse me, 1 pound of N per 1,000 square feet. So basically the same thing. These numbers are percentages of what is in the bag. So you're going to divide 100 by 16%, get 6.25 pounds of fertilizer per 1,000 square feet. That's if you want 1 pound of N per 1,000 square feet. So if you had a 16-00 for your what you purchased, and your recommendation says 1 pound per 1,000 square feet, 1 pound of N, then you're going to have to apply 6.25 pounds of fertilizer to meet that requirement of 1 pound of N per 1,000 square feet. The 4 and the 8, the P and the K, those are just additions. You're going to put them out. It says it's not recommended based on your soil analysis, but your turf will probably wind up using them, so it's okay. So this is a fertilizer program for Bermuda grass lawn. This is in one of the fact sheets that I have listed at the end of the program. So May 1st, NPK, 1 pound of N per 1,000 square feet. 1, fertilizers options. Here's our fertilizer options. 25-10, 15-5-10, 10-5-5, 10-20-10. I've always been a proponent and kind of taught that you need to apply a fertilizer in a 3-1-2 ratio for warm season grasses. That's a 3, a 1, and a 2. So this 15-5-10. So I try to find a 15-5-10 if I could to apply to my warm season yard. Pounds of fertilizer per 1,000 square feet. Of course, 10%, 10 pounds of fertilizer to the acre if you've got a really big yard. So here's May 1st, June, give it another application of nitrogen. July, August, September, NPK. So a lot of times, since it's only requiring or says you have a deficiency in nitrogen, then you can, a lot of times you're going to get a 3400, an ammonium sulfate, which I think is personally a little better. The sulfate makes it a little easier for the plants to use because of the acidification. So 20.500, a urea 4600, a sulfur coated urea 3200 is a pretty good option as well. So I said again, we've got cool season grasses that are in our shaded areas that do very well. And this is for the tall fescues, which is predominantly going to be what you're going to use as your cool season. We really don't use a lot of Kentucky bluegrass here, but we do have some perennial ryegrass lawns that are overseeded every year. So again, same type of nutrients here. We're just using those October, December, March, May. So here, March, we're going to use nitrogen. We're going to get a nice green up. It's going to look nice dark green, ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate. Ammonium sulfate is probably still a good idea for those cool season yards. So Bermuda grass, again, 1 to 5 pounds of N per 1,000 square feet per season. Now, 1 to 5 pounds per season means that you're going to split that entire bulk over the entire season, or over several different applications. So it's not 1 pound now, 1 pound, or excuse me, not 5 pounds now, 5 pounds in May, 5 pounds in July. It's going to be that 5 pounds split up into 1 pound applications 5 different times. So, so take that into consideration. It's not the entire recommendation all at once. Some people have buffalo grass. We really don't have a lot of zoysia grass here, but there's some. But for buffalo grass, 1 to 3 pounds, a half to 1 pound increments. So small spoon feeding nutrient here. Cool season grasses, 2 to 4 pounds of N per year. October, December, March, and May. So we would be applying now for our cool season grasses, and then again early May. And then we really don't want to apply a fertilizer to them again during the heat of the spring and summer because they're just not going to use it. They're extremely stressed. They're typically not an extremely drought tolerant variety. So if you put nutrients out in July for a cool season yard that you're watering every day, it's not really going to be effective at all. So try not to do it, and you're going to increase your likelihood brown patch disease and a lot of other fungal diseases, which last year almost did us in. This year, you know, hopefully we dry out a little bit. So don't overwater. So just a reiteration, this kind of spells it out for you here. 40-pound bag of 1648. Again, we said those are percentages. So it's 0.16%, 0.04, and 0.08. So a nitrogen at 16%, 40 pounds times the percentage is 6.4 pounds of N supplied. In the entire bag. So there's only 6.4 pounds of N supplied in the entire bag. Phosphorus, 1.6 pounds in the entire bag. Potassium, 8%, 40 times 0.08 is 3.2 pounds of potassium in the entire bag, in the entire 40 pounds. If you did 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet at this rate with this fertilizer, you could treat 6,400 square feet of lawn. So if you have roughly 5,000 square feet of lawn that you're covering, you can go buy one bag of this fertilizer, 140-pound bag of this fertilizer, and we'll say that your front and your backyards are relatively the same size. You basically split the bag between your front yard and your backyard. You kind of use a 10% factor for waste, so that should cover you, you know, for what's being lost to sidewalks and flower beds and things like that. So just refer back to this. The math is always the same. It does not change. So there you have it. There's the sources. Click on those or copy and paste to get to our pods on demand, where all of our fact sheets are. And again, here's my contact information. You can give me a call or send me an email, and I'll help you. If you've got an old soil sample that you need help with, email it to me, and I'll take a look at it and give you my recommendations. I also go to the places around town and throughout the county on a regular basis and make sure, just kind of see what type of fertilizer they have. So whenever I make my recommendations, I know you can actually get it. Of course, we've got the big box stores, and they carry very limited diversity. So you might be able to get 1 or 2 different types, and maybe not find exactly what you need. So if you're having trouble finding something, send me an email or give me a call, and I should be able to help point you in the right direction. So again, Brandon Bougen here, Logan County ag educator. Hope this helps. Give me a call and let me know if you need anything.